Hello and welcome to the Famous Matches of Magic channel. Today we bring you the 2014 Vintage Magic the Gathering Championship from Eternal Weekend in Pittsburgh. Today's matchup is between an Izzet Delver deck and an Oath of Druids deck. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the lists. So we have an Izzet Delver deck that has a lot of burn but lacks permission here, as we can take a quick look up at the list here. And now let's take a look at the Oath of Druids deck. Now this is not a toolbox Oath of Druids deck. This is an Oath of Druids deck that is very heavy on permission. It has a full set of Force of Wills, and it has Flusterstorms, Mental Missteps, Mana Drains, and the only Oath of Druids targets it has are Grizzlebrands. This should be a favorable matchup for the Oath of Druids decks, as the Izzet Delver deck is going to be reliant on creatures and burn to win. Well, can Mark Tocco's Oath deck take down Dario Moreno's Blue-Red Delver deck? Well, let's head down to the match and find out. We are on game one, and Mark Tocco on the right, the Oath player, is on the play, and he starts with a Soul Ring, which appears to be a Commander Soul Ring of all the possible Soul Rings. He has a Commander Soul Ring, but hey, I'm not here to judge. Followed by a Black Lotus. Mark Tocco did mulligan, but that Jace the Mind Sculptor is going to meet a Force of Will, pitching a deck Fade-In by the Rug Delver player. That is going to severely deplete Mark Tocco of resources. He's down to 2 cards in hand. Now, Rug Delver player starts exactly how he wants to start, with a turn 1 Delver of Secrets, but Mark Tocco has the Oath of Druids follow-up, which is just exactly what you want to start, but nope, the Rug Delver player has another Force of Will for that, followed by a flipping the Delver of Secrets blind with a Preordain. Man, everything is coming up Millhouse for the Rug Delver player. He casts that Preordain, looking to keep the action coming after swinging in there for 3 points of damage. So the Rug Delver player is able to keep the pressure on while countering all of the threats of the Oath of Druids player. As I said in the introduction, this is a bad matchup for the Rug Delver player because the Oath player can just resolve an Oath of Druids and pretty much win on the spot, because the player has a creature in play, and if that Oath just gets a Grizzlebrand into play, that's pretty much game over. So he has lots of tutors for Oath of Druids, lots of card draw, and he has to counter every single Oath of Druids. So here we have an end of turn Vampiric Tutor met by a Mental Misstep. Now the question is always, do you counter the Vampiric Tutor? And the answer here, when you have a Mental Misstep, is yes, but if you have a hard counter, generally you want to counter what they tutor up here. But no, the Rug Delver player just keeps getting in for 3 points of damage, taking Mark Tocco down to 11. Countering all the threats, swing for 3. Counter for threats, swing for 3. That is the name of the Rug Delver player. He untaps again, draws some more counter spells, get in for 3. That's the name of the game. He plays a Flooded Strand, brings Mark Tocco down to 8. Can Mark Tocco keep drawing Oath of Druids? No, he draws a Mock Sapphire. What does he have now? Oh, he tries to resolve an Oath of Druid once more. Does the Rug Delver player have another counter spell? I guess we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer as he cracks that Flooded Strand, searching his library for a dual land. He is gonna get some red mana, as he has not had access to red mana. He has main deck Pyroblast, but a Pyroblast is not going to counter that green threat. Now he has a Lightning Bolt. What is that Lightning Bolt targeting? He's targeting his Delver to try to get a creature off the board, or is it targeting Mark Tocco? Doesn't matter because it is mental misstepped. So the Rug Delver player untaps, gets Mark Tocco down to 5, but 5 is not 0, so there might be too little, too late. Now the Rug Delver player is playing a young Pyromancer, trying to go wide rather than big. So the Oath of Druids player is going to get his Griselbrand into play. How far down is it gonna be? Can't be too far down because he has 3 Griselbrands in his deck, so he is not going to deck himself. We know that for sure. Here comes the Griselbrand. Now he is not able to draw 7 off of it because he is at 5. So it's not going to be game over quite yet. But the writing is definitely on the wall. Mark Tocco is 1 turn away from winning game 1 here. Dario Moreno has 1 turn winner. What can he come up with? What can he draw here to get out of this situation? He draws another land, and let's see what he can do here. He could potentially block and then burn his own Delver of Secrets to prevent the life gain. Let's see if what he can pull up with. Griselbrand gets in, but no, just nothing. So he gets in, gains 7, goes to 12 points of life, and it looks like that is going to be game 1. But not exactly yet, so this is the Vintage Championship, so he is going to fight, but it's pretty much game over. Dario Moreno is going to search his library for another land, and he can potentially get 12. I mean, he has 5 power on the board, and he can make, if he draws Time Walk potentially right here, that could do it. He casts 1 spell, Time Walk, get in for 6 twice. So Vintage, there's always the possibility, but it is very unlikely because he can always draw 7 to potentially draw it, but looks like he did not draw Time Walk, so game 1 is most likely going to Mark Tocco. Griselbrand gets in once more, and is he going to draw 7 points, 7 cards off of Griselbrand or not? Or is he just going to shift the turn back, and he just decides to shift the turn back, and he could potentially draw 7 if things are looking bad, but otherwise he's just going to be at a healthy 14 points of life. But game 1 goes to Oath of Druids. The blue-red Delver player starts off with a turn 1 Ancestral Recall, the best way to start off Vintage. Does Mark Tocco have the mental misstep? No, he has one better, but a misdirection, and the blue-red Delver player is forced to mental misstep his own Ancestral Recall. What a beating. Wow. Now Mark Tocco has a turn 1 Black Lotus off of Forbidden Orchard. Forbidden Orchard gives his opponent a Spirit token, and he has an Oath of Druid, and a Time Walk. He has the turn 1 kill in the finals of the Vintage Championship. Mark Tocco has a turn 1 kill. Oath of Druids, Forbidden Orchard, Time Walk, Griselbrand. Oh my god.